All right, good morning. We're out here at the Seminole County Sports Complex, extra parking lot. This is now Sandbag operations for the second tropical event of 2022. We are now under a tropical storm watch as of 10 o'clock this morning, issued by the National Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service in Melbourne, Florida. We continue to have flooding across Seminole County from Hurricane Ian. Flooding levels just went into minor stage along Lake Harney, Lake Jessup, and Sanford. And unfortunately, it looks like there's the potential with now subtropical storm Nicole and potentially now what could be a hurricane, us getting back into the moderate flood stage. No one wanted to hear that. No one wants to hear that, but that is what it looks like as of today. We've been monitoring the weather forecast over the weekend, and each forecast has gotten a little bit worse for us here. So in a proactive manner, we are trying to prepare our community for the worst, and of course, hoping and praying for the best. Several Sandbag locations opened this morning. We have, of course, the one here at the Seminole County Sports Complex. We have one at Merrill Park in Altamont Springs, Central Winds Park in Winter Springs, Candyland Park in Longwood, the Old Geneva Volunteer Fire Station, of course, in Geneva, and the Lake Monroe Wayside Park in Sanford. All of those locations are self-serve. Just like the gentleman behind me just came and picked up some sandbags for his home. We are continuing to leave these open for individuals, self-serve. Please bring a shovel with you. Assistance is provided for those that are elderly and those persons that have special needs. We will provide assistance for those individuals. These sandbag locations have been open in overabundance of caution. As rainfall from subtropical storm Nicole could potentially bring upwards of 7 to 8 inches of rain. Forecasted certainly 2 to 3, but all the way up to 7 inches of rain in certain areas. Since we don't know where that rain will fall as those rain bands come in, we want to make sure that we are prepared for the worst. We want to remind citizens that there is a no-wake zone for roadways still issued in Seminole County. We thought we would be able to rescind that. That is not going to be rescinded as water now, localized ponding of water, and of course, the water along the St. Johns River could increase. Please drive slowly on roadways with water on them. People are just now starting to get water out of their homes. The wake from cars moving by could move water into homes, and we want to prevent that from happening. As well, we want to emphasize that there is a no-wake zone along the St. Johns River. So please also no wake along the St. Johns River, as water from that wake can also go into people's homes on the backside of their houses. Remember the phrase, turn around, do not drown. That is very important as we start to see more water on our roadways. The roads potentially could wash out. We saw that already in a couple roadways during Hurricane Ian. And now, of course, subtropical storm Nicole could also bring very high flood waters. It's very important that we also note that we work very closely with the supervisor elections. Our location here at the Sandbag is very separated from the polling location here at the sports complex. So there will be no impact whatsoever from any disaster site. Disaster recovery centers, the mobile registration intake centers, the Sandbag locations from the election polling sites. We make certain that those are very far apart from each other, so there will be no issues with elections tomorrow. Shelters are a possibility, so we are preparing to open emergency shelters if necessary. If this becomes a hurricane, we will look into opening shelters, what that would look like, and where those would be. As part of that, of course, we have to make sure that they're equipped and that staffed, and of course schools are concerned there as well. So we're working very closely with the Seminole County Public Schools in the event that we have to do that. We're hoping that that does not take place. We're continuing, of course, to juggle recovery from Hurricane Ian now with the new preparation for subtropical storm Nicole. Debris, of course, is a big factor when it comes to those things. I'm going to bring up Hector, manager of our debris management, to talk a little bit more about what we're doing in relations to debris. Hector, thank you for being.
Thank you, Alan. Good morning, everybody. My name is Hector Valley. I'm the Solid Waste Division Manager for Seminole County. I want to announce that today we'll be waiving fees at the landfill for the next 72 hours, beginning this morning, for individuals, citizens who want to take their curbside debris to the landfill now. The address of the landfill is 1930 East Osceola Road out in Geneva. DDM haulers, the disaster debris management haulers, will continue to pick up the debris from Hurricane Ian until the threshold of 39 miles per hour is reached. Then they will halt as the situation asks, and they will resume as safe as it is to do so. There's still a lot of Hurricane Ian debris out there, and a lot of it is mixed, which creates a problem. Okay? So we're encouraging citizens, if able, to pick up and deliver that storm debris still from Hurricane Ian to the landfill, and it will be free of charge. There's vegetative debris, there's fencing materials, there's flooring and roofing materials, drywall, etc. And those things can become projectiles during this new storm, during Tropical Storm Nicole. So that's why we're encouraging citizens to bring their debris now, in the next couple of days, to the landfill. Commercial and residential pickups will continue as scheduled, with maybe a service interruption depending on the conditions. Please be patient. The second storm, Nicole, may set us back, but we will catch up. We will get the job done. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Hector. Are there any questions?
Well, so there's obviously a lot of things in play here. When we talked on Friday, we were looking at maybe 1.5 to 2 inches of rain. Now the potential seems to be a lot higher. I mean, it's kind of a non-exact science, but you want people to be ready for a significant rain event.
Absolutely. So this, what we've seen, and of course it all depends on where those rain bands fall. And in Hurricane Ian, those rain bands fell all over the county, but certainly a large concentration in Winter Springs. We saw upwards of 20 inches of rain in certain areas of Winter Springs. That's why Gee Creek became a river. Well, we're not calling for that, but we don't know where these 6-7 inches may show up. To compound that, there's some debris now in creeks and rivers from Hurricane Ian, so that potentially could slow the flow of water. So we don't know what effect that's going to have on this event as well. So we're asking people to take just normal hurricane precautions. If your home's just dried out, you may want to put sandbags around the outside of the home. Not because we're talking about multitudes of inches coming in, but there could be enough inches where we're wanting to prevent the water from coming inside the house. So protecting around the home. The wind, depending on the gust, you could actually see a little bit more than what we saw in Ian for wind. So that's why we're talking about debris as well. So, and every forecast is changing. So in this month, normally we do not see what we're seeing in this particular event. Normally, November's quiet for us. Doesn't look like 2022 has that in store for us.
And the other thing is, it looks like it could come in on the East Coast, exit the West Coast, and then make a right turn and come back in around the Big Bend. Potentially, couldn't we get tropical issues twice?
Yeah, so a double whammy, I guess, is certainly a possibility. We've seen this before in Seminole County, 2008. I am not saying this is going to be Tropical Storm Faye, but the track is the exact opposite, but very similar, where the storm came over us, made a U-turn, and then came back over us. This is looking to be very, very similar to that.
We were in Geneva yesterday, and I know we were talking about debris just now, but there are some people who have piles in front of their house. If they can't move all of that before this storm, is that a concern with, really high wind speed?
Yeah, and that's a major concern for us. We saw that, unfortunately, in 2004 with 3 hurricanes, Charlie, Francis, and Jean. Unfortunately, we're seeing that again. And that's why we in Seminole County have decided to waive the tipping fees, to try, for those that can, get as much of that debris, construction debris and the vegetated debris, into the landfill as quickly as possible to prevent some of those things. Now, some are just, like you said, the piles are so large that you really do need a professional contractor to come by, and we are doing those as quickly as possible, but we're trying to help as best we can.
It's not the transfer station.
It's the landfill, right?
The landfill.
Yeah.
Any word on potential evacuations, mandatory evacuations, anything like that?
Yeah, so that'll depend on where the hurricane, if it becomes a hurricane, number one, and then where it comes would be number two. So if it comes closer to us, this could be more of a wind event. If it comes south of us, that means a prolonged precipitation rain event. Both scenarios are not good for us, but that'll determine on evacuation. So if it does reach hurricane strength and it does come directly towards us, we could be looking at evacuations. If it doesn't and goes to our south, it still could be evacuations, but it'll be more for flooding.
I know you say that we're talking about possibly more rain, but we still have areas that, while they've dropped to minor flood stage, we haven't gotten rid of all the water from Ian. A storm, if the wind is coming out of the north where the St. John's is trying to flow out, that's going to slow the departure of the Ian water we still have, right?
So there's a number of factors, through meteorology that we're playing with in this particular event that are not good for us. Number one is the king tide. So it looks like we will have a king tide during this event. So that's going to be an issue at the mouth of the St. John's River. The wind's direction is also not good. It's going to be in a southern direction, which is against the St. John's River. So that's not very good. We have debris in the waterway, creeks and rivers. So that's not very good for us. And then we're already in minor flood stage, potentially even some models showing us getting it back to moderate. So that's not good for us. So a lot of different factors. None are really great factors looking from a meteorology point of view.
If people did not sandbag in Ian, should they think that maybe they should now?
Well, if it certainly got close to your house during Ian, you certainly want to protect your house. So if you had any reservations, now's the time to prepare for that. And then just make sure that those hurricane disaster kits are ready to go. We're not talking about, again, it depends on where it hits. If it does become a hurricane, which a couple models shows that, and it looks like it's going to come in very close to us, those hurricane kits are very important, and protecting your home is also very important. Wind is going to play a big factor. So rain with the wind could push water into places where it wasn't before. It's also a different direction. It's coming from the east to the side instead of the west. So most of the wind is going to come from the south, not the north, which is what happened in Ian.
Do you know where the shelters will be, or is it too early?
No, we pre-identified those with the school board. We just haven't determined how many and which ones would open, but those are all pre-identified. So we would use very similar. You'll see some of the same names that you saw as far as school names. You'll see some of the same names that will pop up, and again, it depends on the category of strength of the hurricane, where we anticipate that it will go, things like that. Our goal, of course, is it not to get to a hurricane and not to have to open up emergency shelters and not to cancel any more school, but we're ready to do that if we have to. Okay, thank you.